Evantek here with a quick guide on how to build a two-way elevator in Minecraft. And to be honest, I haven't seen anyone have a guide for this, so I made an elevator myself. The problem with the guides that I've seen so far is that if you call the elevator up and you go down by yourself without using it, you cannot call it from the bottom or from the top. And this is what makes this elevator super cool. So if you accidentally leave it up by chance, you can always call it down. And if you accidentally leave it down, you can always call it up. Okie doke, so for this elevator, you will have to prepare a 7 by 10 area. So make sure you have room in your base. And the short side of your build will become the entrance to the elevator, and the long side is whatever you need to hide in the walls. Another quick note about this elevator, it is limitless. So you can have a 20 block elevator, a 40 block tall elevator, a 60 block elevator. I tested a few of them and they work. Okay, so let's prepare the area. I do recommend that you guys dig down 4 blocks deep. This will prepare an area for all the mechanisms that go under this elevator. I'm not using a lot of redstone, I'm not using a lot of materials. You shall see how it looks. Now let's start by placing these 2 redstone lamps on top of each other. Now place down the observer. This observer should be facing up towards the redstone lamp. And if done correctly, this arrow should be pointing down. So this observer will initiate this redstone right under it, but there's nothing to connect it to yet, so let's move on. So the next step is to place down this obsidian block, and you want to leave a 1 block gap between this observer and the obsidian block. On top of this obsidian block, you are going to place a note block, and this note block initiates the elevator itself, and also this obsidian block will prevent the elevator from being pushed further down. Now behind this note block, you are going to place another redstone lamp and an observer. Use some kind of temporary block to get this observer into position. It has to be facing outwards towards the back of the elevator. Now for the sticky piston. So this sticky piston will be 1 block lower than this observer and 1 block to the left or to the right of it, like this. Now a temporary block and an observer facing into it. As you can see, the sticky piston works, so now you're going to glue a soul sand to it. Now behind the soul sand, let's build a trench, but first let me place down the walls. Yeah, you can use any type of wall here. On top of the observer and stretch it out 2 blocks to the right. Get this observer facing towards the wall, so it has to be facing up. Dig down 1 block maybe. There we go, now it's facing the wall over here. Connect the observers with redstone and connect this piston with redstone, and this part is done. Now we are going to build a water chamber, so place this glass down over here so to prevent the water from leaking onto the redstone, which is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. And we're going to continue building this chamber up. Now place down this pressure plate, and this initiates the whole mechanism. So you should check if it works right now. Alright, so what this mechanism should be doing right now is moving the soul sand 1 block out, either to the left or to the right, depending on where you placed your piston. Alright, so let's build the water chamber. So you're going to place a glass block on top of the piston, on top of the observer, and 1 block above this soul sand. So to make sure that the soul sand actually can move left and right. And there's no height limit to this chamber, so you can build it as tall as you wish. 20 blocks, 50 blocks, however tall you need it to be. That looks okay. Let's just say I want it as tall as this. Now let's finish up that 3 block wide wall on the back. Alright, so far so good. Now on top of this tower, you're going to place an observer that's going to be facing into the water chamber. Now place 2 glass blocks on either side, and on the back, fill up the wall once more. Next thing is placing the sticky piston on top of the observer. And it has to be facing this way, like so, right? Like this, yes. Right behind the sticky piston that we just placed, we are going to place an observer facing upwards. Now, right below it, we're going to place a redstone lamp. Next will be a note block, and this note block should align with the note block right below it. Now, on top of the note block, you're going to place an obsidian block, and this prevents the whole thing from being pushed out by the elevator. Place a button on the obsidian block, and this is going to be used for the elevator. Now the observer facing upwards, on top of it, you're going to place a redstone repeater and set it to 2 ticks. Make sure to set it to 2 ticks. And on top of this obsidian block, you are going to place a redstone torch. This will make the sticky piston remain in the extended position. Alright, we have everything ready. Now we just have to build the elevator cabin, which is a standard elevator cabin that all the other guides use. So first, place an observer facing the note block. Then, on top of the observer, place a slime block. Next, take out your sticky piston, and on either side, you're going to place a sticky piston facing upwards. On each of the pistons, place 2 slime blocks. Now a reverse sticky piston facing the other way, so facing downwards. On top of the sticky piston, an observer facing upwards. So the elevator cabin mechanism should look something like this. Just take a screenshot or pause here for reference. So this is what makes this elevator work. So we are going to fill this water chamber with water. So make sure all the blocks in this chamber are source blocks, otherwise it will not work. You can either use the kelp technique, which is placing a kelp and just extending it until it reaches the top and then breaking it, which will turn all water into source blocks, or you can place water one by one just like I do here. So now that we have it all filled up with water, we just have to get out of here. So let me take off this sticky piston for a second and place it back down. Okay, so the job's done. As you can see, the elevator already worked, so it's up here. We can call it down with using this button, and once it's down, we can call it up, which is something that makes this build unique. And I almost forgot, if you want to enclose this elevator, you have to use obsidian or leave a space here in order to have this elevator work. Otherwise, it will get stuck and mess up everything around it. Now, how about a quick demo, a quick demonstration on how it works? Just step on this pressure plate and it will call it up. That's how all of the elevators work. They work one way. They actually initiate the elevator and it goes up and stays there. But this elevator, if you step on the pressure plate once again, it will call it down. So it's very intuitive to use too. You don't have to use 2 buttons, it's just 1 button. And we can do the same from on top. Just use this button to call it down, and once it's down, you can call it up the same way. There you go, a 2-way elevator, little redstone used, and it's very simple to build. So if you found this useful, make sure to like the video and consider subscribing. I don't actually do a lot of Minecraft videos, but I do a lot of survival videos. So if you're interested in that kind of content, subscribe, hit that bell icon. This is Evantek signing off, and I shall see you next time.